Ever wondered what an epic European train adventure looks like through the eyes of a tiny human? Join us on an unforgettable journey across breathtaking landscapes, all while experiencing the world's wonders alongside our adorable toddler. Get ready for charming reactions and unique perspectives that will melt your heart and reignite your own sense of wonder. Welcome everyone! Today, we are kicking off what might be our most ambitious adventure yet, a multi-country train trip across Europe. And we have a very special, very small travel companion with us. This is Leo, and he's about to experience his first ever grand European tour by rail. We packed our bags, triple-checked our tickets, and braced ourselves for the beautiful chaos that is traveling with a toddler. Our journey begins in the heart of Paris. The hustle and bustle of Gare de Lyon was a first big test. While we were navigating platforms and luggage, Leo was just mesmerized by the sheer scale of it all. The echoing announcements, the streams of people, the massive digital timetables, it was a sensory playground for him. He kept pointing at the trains, his eyes wide, just repeating choo-choo over and over. Getting settled on our first high-speed train was an adventure in itself. We found our seats, and as the train started to pull away from the station, his little face was pressed right up against the window. The city skyline began to blur, replaced by the rolling French countryside. For a child who's only known his neighborhood park and local streets, seeing the world fly by at this speed was pure magic. He'd gasp every time we went through a tunnel, and then erupt in giggles when we emerged back into the daylight. It's these small, pure moments of joy that you just can't plan for. He wasn't interested in the snacks or the toys we brought. The window was his entertainment. A live-action movie of fields, cows, and distant villages. Our first major stop was Switzerland. Waking up to the sight of the Swiss Alps from a train window is breathtaking for anyone. But for a toddler, it's like stepping into a storybook. We were on one of those scenic trains with the panoramic windows, and Leo was just in awe. He kept tracing the snow-capped peaks with his tiny finger on the glass. At one point, he turned to me with the most serious expression and just said, "Big hill." It is moments like these that remind you how simple and profound a child's perspective can be. We adults see mountains and think about geology or hiking trails. He just saw a really, really big hill. It was a beautiful reminder to appreciate the simple wonder of it all. Navigating mealtimes on a train with a toddler is a unique challenge. We learned very quickly to keep things simple. Lots of finger foods, easy to peel fruits, and a trusty sippy cup. The dining car was a bit too formal for a wriggly 2-year-old, so we mostly had picnics in our seats. Leo thought it was the best thing ever. He'd carefully arrange his snacks on the little fold-down table, making it his own personal banquet. He even tried to share his crackers with a friendly passenger across the aisle, which was incredibly sweet. Traveling with a child opens up so many doors to human connection. People are just friendlier, more willing to smile and strike up a conversation when there's a cute kid involved. From the majestic mountains of Switzerland, we headed south towards Italy. The landscape changed dramatically, from alpine greens to the sun-drenched terracotta hues of the Italian countryside. This leg of the journey was a bit longer, which meant we had to get creative with keeping Leo entertained. We played endless rounds of peekaboo, built towers out of empty snack boxes, and read his favorite book about, you guessed it, trains. The highlight for him was spotting other trains passing by. He'd yell, "Another train! Hi, train!" and wave frantically until it was out of sight. His enthusiasm was infectious, and soon, other passengers were joining in, waving at passing trains with us. Arriving in Rome was a jolt to the senses. The historic city is vibrant and chaotic, and navigating the streets with a stroller is an Olympic sport. But seeing ancient wonders like the Colosseum through his eyes was fascinating. He had no concept of its history or significance, of course. To him, it was just a giant, broken circle building. He was more interested in the pigeons and the street performers. It's a humbling experience, realizing that the things we hold in such high regard are just part of the background scenery for a little one. It forces you to slow down and notice the small details you'd otherwise miss, like the texture of an ancient stone or the sound of a fountain. One of the biggest lessons we learned on this trip is the importance of a flexible itinerary. We had a plan, but we quickly realized that with the toddler, plans are more like suggestions. If Leo was tired, we'd scrap a museum visit for a long nap in the hotel. If he was full of energy, we'd find the nearest park and let him run around for an hour. The train travel itself was perfect for this because it provided built-in downtime. He could nap, play, and just relax while we were still moving towards our next destination. Unlike a flight, where you're confined to a tiny seat, the train offered space to walk around, which was a lifesaver for his toddler energy levels. Our journey continued eastward, crossing into Austria. Vienna was a dream. The city is so clean and grand, and the public transport is incredibly efficient. We took a day trip on a local train to a smaller town, and Leo got to experience a different kind of train ride, slower, with more stops. He loved listening to the announcements in German and trying to mimic the sounds. Every conductor we met was so kind, often giving him a little smile or a wave. One even let him peek into the driver's cabin when we were stopped at a station. You should have seen his face. I think we might have a future train driver on our hands. The final leg of our journey took us to Prague. By this point, Leo was a seasoned train traveler. He had his routine down: find the seat, clean the window, and get ready for the view. He learned to say "ticket please" and would proudly present his imaginary ticket to us whenever we asked. Prague's old world charm was a perfect end to our adventure. We spent our days wandering the cobblestone streets, and in the evenings, we'd watch the trams go by from our apartment window. For him, the trams were just smaller, friendlier trains that lived in the city. Looking back, this train trip was one of the most rewarding travel experiences we've ever had. Was it challenging? Absolutely. There were meltdowns, sleepless nights, and moments where we questioned our sanity. But the good moments far outweighed the bad. Seeing Europe unfold through our son's fresh, unfiltered perspective was a gift. He taught us to find joy in the simple things: the rumble of the tracks, the blur of the scenery, the kindness of strangers. He reminded us that the journey itself is a destination. Traveling with a toddler isn't about ticking off sites from a checklist. It's about experiencing the world together, one choo-choo at a time. So, would we do it again? In a heartbeat. For anyone thinking about a big trip with a little one, our advice is to just go for it. Embrace the chaos, be flexible, and prepare to see the world in a whole new way. It will be an adventure you'll never forget. Thanks so much for joining us on our European train journey. We hope you enjoyed seeing it all through Leo's eyes. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more family adventures. See you next time.